And we're back.
Jellyfish Jawa has now been promoted to Miyamoto.
Ooh, look at all the emblems. Huh.
These are in memory for all those who have been sacrificed in the copying of Silverfish, Sony. Kid Icarus was one of them. But unfortunately, Miyamoto managed to revive him. Pretty cool.
A trophy.
And, the Tower of the Gods.
Yes.
So, well, it kind of reminded the music reminded me of Tower of the Gods.
This is actually a really cool stage. I
There's
like
stages.
this a lot. Well, level. This is a really cool level, stage, whatever you want to call it.
Oh god. Oh god, it's Tartarus. Persona 3. You've come back. I don't care, I completed you once. I'm not going to do the entire story again except with boobs just to see what happens. I am. That's the bad thing. Not sure if you know, but Persona 3 for the PSP, okay. You have your story mode, but you can choose your gender, and there seems to be significant changes apparently. Like, I've seen some gameplay like that's actually kind of different. But I've already completed it once. And to give you an idea of how long this takes, you have to go climb like 210 towers, and you have like a year to do it in. It's a very long game. Pretty awesome though. That was the modernness. And Miyamoto flaps his wings
And flies above the wasteland.
That is Sony, and he leaves Microsoft behind because, frankly, Microsoft, like, is just there for the ride. You know, for anyone who wants to be big and hardcore. And Miyamoto did gain strengths. Ideas came rushing into his mind. Ideas such as, what if, instead of a silverfish, we had an Italian plumber who saved a princess who was called Peach. And there she is, Princess Peach.
Peach!
Miyamoto's ideas came into life.
And then the waste rises. But that's okay, because you can't die.
Miyamoto and Peach rode to the top of the Tartarus, ready to confront the final boss of Persona 3. But then he realised, wait a second, Persona? Well, that sounds like something that would be in a Silverfish game. Series, console. And then he was like, screw Tartarus. This should be called Tower of the Gods. Then he perceived a new hero. A hero called Toon Link. And with this idea, his scarf did grow bigger. Like so. And with these new ideas, he soared above the rest. Into the clouds of gaming legends. He will create Nintendo. Unfortunately then, people tried to drag him down, you know, with, you know, things like the Virtual Boy. I mean, not everybody's perfect, come on now. But you know how it is. It happens, you know. You can't blame the guy, everyone makes mistakes. But after he awesomely admits his mistakes, he bends back up to the top.
Eventually I'll get back up to the top.
Said Miyamoto.
I like your story.
It's not done yet, I'm just waiting for the story to progress. Miyamoto used all his work to get to the Tower of the Gods, where he crossed the bridge of awesome lookingness. And he did say to himself, I think there needs to be more feminine heroes, because he was not sexist. And thus, in a burst of light, Samus was born. See, you can see the three Jawas in that, but that's the three heroes right now. Link, Mario and Samus. But life works out that way. Pretty interesting, actually. With the more brilliant ideas Miyamoto came up with, the higher he got to the Tower of the Gods, until eventually a stingray of scarves came across, and then he thought, ice climbers. I'm sure that would be brilliant for a fighting game, and his scarf did just grow longer. Sinking.
Are you thinking there, Chris?
No, I'm just waiting for the story to progress. Oh, of course. Not only was Miyamoto non-sexist, but
there we go.
that's a stingray.
I caught a dragon. Looks
It's
like
a
a Chinese
hammerhead
dragon.
shark, actually.
Okay, whatever you want to call it.
Anyway, as Miyamoto wrote his inspiration of Dragon Ball, Shenron, the hammerhead shark from Dragon Ball, rode him towards even bigger ideas. I say bigger ideas, but like even more ideas. You kind of know what I mean. Anyway, Miyamoto was not sexist. He was also not a beastist. And he thought Donkey Kong, but the donkey is a monkey. And with a brilliant twist of fate, he did us make another staircase puzzle appear, and Nintendo's influence grew even further. His scarf representing the console's success, the NES, was revolutionary for being in the homes of many people. The Super NES would also succeed. Miyamoto was flying to the top quicker than ever, with minimal competition. I mean, Sega, pfft, it's not like they'll... Miyamoto knew that by the end of this, they'd probably be working for him. And Miyamoto's prediction of the future came true. Sega now kind of like scared for them. Interesting how that happens. Miyamoto danced gleefully and thought sometime in the future I'd like some random robotic Master Sword character called Fi to do similar dance moves to my. And with this idea, the pyramid became more clearer. Nintendo's influence had reached the peak.
Sounds like Yoshi's story. When they get happier and happier and closer to the tree.
Miyamoto then thought, do you know what would be brilliant? Gay dinosaurs. That is like not like that shows how awesome he is. He doesn't care if you're gay or not. And his influence spread, and then he made gay Yoshi story stuff, happiness. Get because gay back in the day meant happy.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then Miyamoto thought it would be nice if someone could chronicle these in the lowly Silverfish Sony games console. And then Microsoft apparently appeared to Nintendo, and
started to snow.
basically Miyamoto learned the spirit bomb. He collected all the energy of the peoples, and he grew powerful. I am Microsoft. Look at me, Nintendo. I am big. Wah. Now I have given us the stars, and that is you, Miyamoto, at the top of everything. You surpassed me, even though I never overtook you in the first place, because I was kind of the last competition. But, you know, stop Sony, please. Get rid of them, then, you know, we'll just happily let you take. I mean, weren't they the ones who were like, oh, phones, no, that's what the Vita's gonna be, but there will be many hardships, because, as you can see, you're kneeling down from the harsh winds of modern society. People can't simply accept good games anymore. They must have graphics. The hardships. You must prevail, Miyamoto. I am CNN. And thus Microsoft disappeared. In case you didn't know, I'm trying to make my own story because I don't know what the fuck's going on. But anyway, with this epiphany, Miyamoto knew where he must go next. He must take up his Master Sword, his trusted Hylian shield, his donkey, ape called Donkey Kong, and his little buddy Diddy Kong. His GF, freaking Samus, and he was now called Link. Miyamoto Link, that is his name. Even though Miyamoto is his last name. Anyway, the coldness that consumed Microsoft appeared, and then basically it started snowing.
The harsh reality, the torment,
and
the
then
bitterness between Sony and Nintendo
rose, and eventually Microsoft was consumed in the darkness of stupid consoles. As you can see, Miyamoto had to traverse as the only warmth. He would name this the 6th gen,
Yeah.
and he knew that 6th gen he would be the underdog. He would have not as good graphics, but would have the good games. A test to see if people really are getting worse in modern day society.
Unfortunately, he was wrong.
Microsoft's prediction was right. Silverfish, Sony, had come back and started pooping out fire to try and burn Miyamoto's life. However, the flame in Miyamoto grew strong, and basically Miyamoto knew that he could think of anything. He was an optimist compared to the pessimistic view of others. He was like, a snow level? I can make snow levels good. I can make them fun. How about the tundra level in Metroid Prime? And then,
However, even though he tried to defeat the evil, he was ultimately pushed back, freezing in the cold abyss that was the
modern
heart.
day society. However, Miyamoto was not alone. Fans followed him loyally. Miyamoto knew that it's time. He must defy all odds and make things happen.
He must push forward with the help of his trusty fans.
His new
and followers.
idea, the 3DS, he had to make this work. Would he make it work? Well, that's the thing. At first, it didn't really work out. All the games he promised just weren't happening. However, Miyamoto knew everyone must make sacrifices, and he lowered the price of 3DS. 3DS then became a big hit, a massive hit. Such a massive hit, in fact, that one of Emrys' lights has just fallen down from the ceiling. This type of hit was phenomenal. However, Sony had its eye on Miyamoto. Ha ha ha! I, Silverfish Sony, will obviously attempt to do what I've always done. Rip them off! And thus the Vita was born, with touchscreen controls and motion controls. This seemed like a big setback, because obviously this was like the PSP, which didn't really do very well. But obviously everyone fell for it again. And then it turned out the Vita wasn't very good, and it had a bad launch, a much worse launch than 3DS in fact. It had no games, so it was very faulty. However, Miyamoto knew this was not the end. For he had learned from experience that not everything may happen as it seems. The 3DS gained its fame after launch, and he knew that this might happen after the Vita. With the Vita. Even though the PSP never really did that well, it was kind of poor selling, all things considered. I mean, it gained some popularity eventually, but the DS pretty much made it explode, and yeah.
But as Miyamoto carried on his weary path, he started to think to himself, will I ever prevail? Find out next time. Bye guys.